I want to have a talk with you all about self-control. The aspect of how important self-control is vital if you are on this journey toward growing into somebody new, growing into a new life. I'll tell you all a story. I was just closing today. Everything was going fine, just doing my job as normal. And suddenly, the coworker I'm working with calls me to the front. He says he needs my help. I'm doing stuff in the back area, finishing what I need to finish in order to get out. I say, of course. I go from the back to the front. And now, this happens. I go to grab a pair of gloves. And to his surprise, instead of grabbing the pair that was in the front, I go back to the back, which is around 5 steps, turn around, grab a pair of gloves, then go out to the front. His comment to this was, why didn't you just grab the gloves in the front? My response was, well, I'm too tired right now. I didn't feel like grabbing it. And for some reason, to his surprise, he was like, wow, people make excuses for anything nowadays. And at first I shrugged it off, I laughed, but then he said it again and repeated it a couple more times. And that's when I stood there, looked at him and said, what are you talking about? Then he replied, oh, no, nothing. I'm just surprised everybody makes excuses nowadays about what they can't do. And during this time, while he was saying all of this, I was trying to brush it past myself and think maybe he's implying something else. I've had issues with this coworker in the past, but I continue to shrug it off. Don't give it any much thought. I like to go to work to make my money, knowing that I'm doing it for a purpose, knowing that it won't be forever. However, with me already being exhausted on the day and being fed up that I was at work at all, although I don't advise that is the mindset you have going into work, I advise you should be grateful for every opportunity you have, even if it may not be exactly what you want in this exact moment. Anyways, excuse me, as the story continues, I say, yo, can we chill out? No need to instigate anything. I just went back, grabbed a pair of gloves, that's all. I told him it's too late for this, I'm exhausted, I don't want to do anything. Then to this, his response was, well, you were the one saying you were at home all day, doing nothing. That's when I started to get upset. Typically, I'm an individual that doesn't get upset quickly, especially out in public. I like to hold myself to a demeanor of self-control. But as we continued, he kept picking out my buttons, talking about, oh, what happened to the discipline and what happened to X, Y, and Z. And then that's when I got so exhausted to the point to where I sighed and I said, you know what? I don't want to talk. Let's just do what we need to do and get out. And he said, or what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And no. This guy's 27 years old, just got his driver's license for the first time, has been working at Jersey Mike's for however long, and is 6'3". But I'm not a punk. But, like I said before, my intention to go to work is to go work. I don't care enough about what's happening at work in order to be concerned with, well, frankly, anything about it. Anyways, this ends up continuing. And I sat there and said, you know what, bro? I'm just going to call the manager and clock out. I'm not trying to close. There was no ill will against him. Just trying not to deal with it. And so I stopped making the sandwich in front of the customers. And this is in front of customers, by the way. But he wanted to prove a point about something which I have no idea. Started about gloves. Makes no sense. But you tell me how it makes sense. I don't know. Maybe you guys see a different perspective on it. Anyways, continuing, I sat there and I pulled out my phone. But right as I'm about to sit there and call the manager, scrolling for his contact, I stop and think. For a moment, it's like the whole world paused. And it was just me for a second. I was in my own mind and I was thinking to myself, well, do I really want to give up the opportunity I have right now in order to crash out, in order to go ballistic to prove a point about something? And I stopped for a moment and I thought to myself, well, this individual in particular is not worth my energy toward the destination at which I'm headed. And right as I thought that thought, it completely transformed my mindset about the situation. Don't get me wrong, I was upset. I had adrenaline rushing through my veins. But just that simple thought, that second of standing still and thinking, changed the entire situation. During this time, he was like, oh, mocking me, saying, have you called the manager yet? Have you called the manager yet? Oh yeah, tell him what happened. And note, he's assistant manager. I don't care. However, this thought, this simple second of reflection had shifted my mindset. And I realized, truly, some people, and it's so unfortunate, because some people just live such terrible lives, fill themselves mentally, they indulge in things that just destroy them. They're never seeking to build themselves, to improve, to grow. So I stopped and I thought, what the hell does this guy know about me? He doesn't know I'm waking up early mornings. He doesn't know I'm putting in the work no one else wants to put in. He doesn't know the goals, the destination, the vision toward which I'm striving daily. He doesn't know who I am. So why do I give so much validation to his thoughts? Why do I validate what he says by my actions? And so I stopped. And I played out two scenarios in my mind, with the first one being, well, let's say I do lash out, call the manager, make a scene, that's fine. Okay. Is the risk reward of that worth, instead, taking a step back, although being so frustrated to the point to where you could blow up, instead taking a step back, looking at it from a macro perspective, a bigger point of view, the large point of view, and analyze, well, at what cost is the price I'm willing to pay for throwing my dreams away, for throwing where I'm going away for another individual's opinions or thoughts? And I had to remind myself for a second, this guy has no idea who I am. He doesn't know what I do when no one's watching. He doesn't know how I execute. He He doesn't know my life. And he doesn't know who I am either. His perception of me is what I allow myself to show. And the reason why I'm here speaking to you all is because through this story, I want you all to understand something. I need you all to understand something. And I need you all to understand this about self-control. You will have tests in your life. You will be put in situations where you do not want to be put in. And you will meet individuals that do test your self-control. It is your job and your application to be able to ignore the voice of the devil, to be able to ignore the demons that are trying to pull you away from your path and purpose. That's how I seen it. And I realized the reason why he is the way he is because he has demons inside that he is unwilling to let go. Now you may ask, well, Lonnie, don't you think that's a little broad? And if so, how does he let go of them? By facing them. That's how. By facing them day to day. By understanding that with proper daily action, proper daily discipline, understanding that you won't be right all of the time, but knowing that through your daily action, you understand the path at which you're headed, you will see result. So I want all of you to understand that many people you encounter in this life will test your patience. They will test your self-discipline, and they will push your buttons, and they will do it on purpose. Remember that is the devil trying to pull you away from who you're meant to be and from the goal and the vision. How you react to situations like such will determine the type of individual you become. You, and only you, are in charge of your choices, your thoughts, and decisions. There is no excuse for how you choose to act apart from understanding that it was simply your fault for acting the way you acted, whether that be beneficial or negatively. This path is not easy, and you will be tested. How you face that test determines the rest of your life. So when you have times in life where you are tested, as hard as it is sometimes, stop for a moment and truly think, if I wanted to react how I wanted to react, would that be beneficial toward the individual I'm becoming? I realized a lot of these people that I face and encounter that don't truly have anything going for themselves are the people that are truly sad in life, the people that are truly depressed. But that's not you guys, because you guys sit there and focus on a vision every single day, focusing on making that dream a reality. when you're on this pathway and this road towards success and growth, know that you will not be able to truly reveal yourself to everybody. Because not everybody is deserving to know who you are. They're not deserving to know where you're headed, your purpose, what you do day to day, the individual you're growing into and becoming and developing. They're not deserving of it. However, the flip side of that, when you do meet individuals that are deserving of it, showcase it to them and bring them along the journey. The people that root for you despite you failing, the people that help you get back up when you cannot help yourself up. The self-control to know when to keep going, and the self-control knowing when to stop. And being able to think 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead. Shoot, a year ahead, 6 months ahead, a decade ahead. That will aid you so much. And I can not emphasize it enough. You being able to think further ahead than the average human being will allow you to achieve so much more than a single individual will ever achieve in their lifetime. It'll allow you to achieve in only years and only decades. Do not allow the devil to win. When the demons manifest and they attack you, they attack your purpose, they attack the vision that God has given you, don't allow them to win. You may not always immediately see it when they are. And sometimes it takes a moment of reflection in order to see where they're attacking from. And we forget that yes, God knows us. He knows everything about us. Every hair on our head numbered. His thoughts for us outweigh the grains of sand on the sea. We understand this. But what I feel like we don't understand enough is that the devil knows everything about us as well. Everything about us. He knows where you're headed toward. He knows what your triggers are. He knows what situations you hate. And guess what? He will use everything in his power. Everything in his power in order to steer you off the path you're meant to go. Everything in his power, no matter what it is. If you hate where you work, guess what? He will bombard situations and he'll compound negative situations that happen at your work in order to steer you off of the path that you know you should be on. Because he's clever. He's a mastermind. He's a genius. And a lot of people like to overlook that aspect of him. We think he's this angry red person with horns and a pitchfork, waving it at everybody. We visualize him as we'll see him coming when he attacks. But the truth is that saying, the devil in a red dress, is so true. Because he comes disguised as something pearly, as something glorious, as something that's so appealing to the eye. And you never realize it at first. You could take this in any situation. Sure, you could take it in money, you could take it in cars, clothes, luxuries, yeah, of course. But you can also take it in people, and you could take it in situations. when you don't fully analyze. In this situation, the devil was disguised in words. It was through words that got him close to me without me immediately realizing it. And you won't always immediately realize it. That's not the name of the game. If you can, that's great. But even then, it takes such a strong amount of self-control and discipline in order to resist and continue to stay focused. You will fall and you will fail. That's a given. Don't try to change that aspect. But the Word of God says this: the righteous man falls 7 times but gets back up every single time. So my question to you is, are you falling and giving up? Or are you falling and getting back up every single time? Are you allowing yourself to sit in despair and groan about your situation? Or are you going out there and pushing past your limit? No one in your life knows who you are besides you. No one. Not your mom, not your dad, nobody. Not your brother, sister, cousin, nephew. Nobody knows who you are besides you. No one. So don't allow another individual's opinion about you to pierce and dictate you. Don't allow it. Because at the end of the day, who cares what anybody thinks? You know who you are. You know the individual you're growing to, and you know where you're headed toward. These people don't know. Why are you taking advice from these people that don't live the life you want to live? I'm over here arguing with the 27-year-old, emphasizing I cannot believe he's arguing with the 17-year-old, being a decade older than me. But I'm also looking at his life situation, analyzing, if I were in his situation, could I blame him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. By you relentlessly pursuing that dream, it allows you to focus in and have tunnel vision toward where you're headed. To allow yourself not to get distracted by mere things of this world, but instead focus on the aspect of growth through the process. Don't fold to the devil's temptations. Don't fold to the opinion of mere man. If you're on this journey, know that your environment will change soon. You will grow into a different individual, and you're so much further ahead than all the people around you. That are looking down at you and talking bad and gossiping about you. The best revenge you could ever have isn't going to your job and getting somebody fired or keying their car or doing X, Y, and Z, any of that. It's not. It's becoming so successful, growing into an individual that's so different, that one day when you meet him again and you see him again, you won't even remember who they are. Because you've gotten so obsessed with becoming somebody new. The thought of them having ever did you wrong, it's no longer there. Because you're so focused on where you're headed and what you're achieving, that their life that isn't really filled with much is too mere to cross your mind. The best success is a success when no one believed in you. That is the absolute best success. When the whole world turned its back on you, where you sat there questioning why you're going through what you're going through, and still you allowed yourself to push through and make it out every single day. That truly is the best success anyone could have, anybody could achieve, anybody could attain. They betted on you. They bet on you, but they bet wrong. They bet wrong. Do not take revenge, for revenge is the Lord's. God will handle it as he pleases. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but he'll handle it. He will handle it. I trust and believe that with my whole heart. Don't have any ill will toward anybody. Love everybody you encounter. Because as you learn to love yourself on this journey, it'll open your eye to how many people truly don't love themselves and are miserable. And they're miserable because they're not on the path that God created them to be on. I love you all. Continue to strive daily. And whatever you do, get back up. You guys have my heart. I'm always here for you all. Until next time.